Pressure on the coaches is something different, and you really don't get it. A few weeks I've talked to the head coaches before every football game, and you can tell which ones are winning and which ones have to win. Bob Vespasiani's on the fence right now. It's been a tough go for him. He needs to win this football game, and you can see it on his face, and you can see it physically. The man is tight. He has to keep that feeling away from his players. If you don't think pressure can hurt you, just look down in Edmonton. Jackie Parker had a great deal of pressure on him, and he was a winning coach. It got to him physically, and he had to retire.
Bob Vespasiani's Calgary Stampeders will be receiving the opening kickoff and trying to move the ball into a stiff wind that is going to be a key factor in today's game. Right off the bat, the Argonauts' Lance Chomik will have the chance to see what the wind can do for him as he tries to boot the ball deep to Ron Hopkins or Andy McVeigh, and the ball game is underway. Line drive kick to Hopkins, the best kick returner in the CFL. The ball game is underway with some sunshine, which should help a cool and windy day. That's a 70-yard kickoff. Didn't need any help from the wind, and a 27-yard return by Hopkins. Carl Foder from Marshall University tried out with the St. Louis Cardinals in the National Football League last season. Enters the huddle for the first time in a CFL regular season game as a starter.
Fodar's a little bit more mobile than Johnson, and they want to move the pocket around. They think it'll be tough on the Toronto defense if they can get Fodor outside, sprint him out a little bit more.
From the 33, Tim Petros carries to the 38, maybe the 39-yard line, as the Stampeders have to try to get some running going. Not only Petros, but Gary Allen, of course. I think if the sun goes out, we'll call it cold and windy, but that wind is really blowing, and it is not very warm. The field doesn't change, however.
No, it'll stay hard, and the traction will be great. 2nd
and 4, Stampeders. Order to pass, he overthrows, and right into the arms of Argonaut Reggie Pleasant, who's at midfield. Pleasant looking for room to far sidelines. He's got a couple of blockers there, and Reggie Pleasant goes out of bounds at the 35-yard line. The first pass by Foder picked off, and it wasn't a well-thrown pass by any stretch of anybody's imagination.
No, it certainly wasn't. They start off with a run, they come back with a straight drop back, and the protection's outstanding. He just lets that ball get away from him, right over the head of the receiver. It's easy interception. That can't do much for a quarterback's confidence either. It's his first start, gets an opportunity to get in the game, and the receiver was open. Just released it a little bit too early off the arm.
Hit a big target, Ron Wheeler, but he is not nearly that tall. Renfro gives to Fennerty, and he's got 4 yards on the Argos' first play from scrimmage.
The ball carrier. Bob Obilovich feels that they can do a couple of things today. One is run at Vince Goldsmith, because the defensive end plays so wide, they want to get that running game up inside of him. That'll set up their pass, and they also want to move their quarterback around a bit.
Stampeders go to 6 defensive backs on 2nd and 6. Darcy Kopp is the 6th, and Gil Renfro will survey that situation. Renfro runs away from it. Fennerty juggles it and catches it to the 15 into the 12-yard line. First down, Argos.
Well, a healthy Gil Fennerty is going to help this offense. He's had a bad ankle for the last couple of weeks. Talked to trainer Freddie Dunbar of the Argos. He's almost 100%. Feels he can go throughout the game. Shouldn't have a problem, but this is what makes him effective. It almost looks like he says, oops, missed the linebacker. Now I better get a chance to get out and make something happen.
Well, as long as you catch it, Fennerty completes that pass. First down, Argonauts. Trying to turn the Reggie Pleasant interception into a very big play. Fennerty tough to bring down, but the Stampeders do it that time with Goldsmith. A gain negligible, and it'll be 2nd and long.
He really is a tough running back for one defensive player to bring down. He says that that loose leg, he's got tremendous lateral ability, and he was compared today, talking to Obilovich, to the great Dick Shadow, who was so good coming out of the backfield and a super runner. Say it's same size, 195 pounds, 200 pounds, 6 feet.
And the same versatility in catching the ball out of the backfield, running inside or out. Second down, about 8 for the Argos from the Calgary 10. Renfro sets up, fires over the middle. The pass is caught. Should be a first down. It's not a touchdown, but the always dependable Paul Pearson brought it in.
That 6 defensive back situation's in again with Darcy Kopp, and he will come from the weak side. Plenty of time. Good job of Tony John stepping up, meeting the blitz, and giving Renfro time to throw the ball over the middle.
Pearson, after making that key reception, will leave as the Argos send in some beef. They're going to have 3 cracks from the 1-yard line. Tony Johns, the fullback. Gil Fennerty, the halfback. It is Fennerty, and he does not make it. Now they do say touchdown, Argos.
Well, you hit into that line. There's not going to be a lot of space, especially in short yardage. You've got to find a little area. If you're hit, you've got to spin, and Fennerty does exactly that. He stopped first off, but now he gets away from the tackler, out of the grasp of one of the defensive players, just finds a little crack to get in. First stop, but just keep pushing. Got to have that surge of the offensive line, give him an opportunity. Good lead by Tony Johns.
Well, those giveaways continue to plague the Stampeders. The giveaway takeaway ratio was embarrassing for Calgary. They were minus 15 in that department coming into the game. Now it's minus 16, and as far as the scoreboard is concerned, minus 7 for Calgary right off the bat. Stampeders will try again as Andy McVeigh returns this kickoff and finds room. Out of bounds just ahead of the 50-yard line. They'll put it at the 52, so a spark of enthusiasm from the Calgary fans for Andy McVeigh's kickoff return, 47 yards.
McVeigh was their leading rusher in preseason, does a lot of things well, impressed them on special teams, returning kickoffs and punts. He loves to do it. He asked the coach if he could, and this is one of the reasons why. He gets up and finds the seam. He's got good speed for a big man, 6'1", 215.
Carried the tackler for about 5 yards. Carl Fodor couldn't have had a worse start, so he tries to do some positive things on his second series from the 52. Good field position. Quick pass, and that was tipped and could have been intercepted as well. It mightn't have been Fodor's fault that time.
Well, throwing into the breeze, the ball's going to stay up a little bit more, but in a pass like that, he's going to get some zip on it. A short drop, he's got to get it out to that receiver quickly. I don't think the wind would affect the ball.
Fodor is the best runner of the 3 Calgary quarterbacks. Rick Johnson and Rick Warman, the others, of course, although Bob Vespasiani said he didn't particularly install a game plan with that in mind. They want Fodor to run the Calgary offense and not add any particular wrinkles of his own. From the pocket, Fodor is hit once, fires a pass to the ground, so he's overshot receivers both ways, throwing them out of their reach high and low. And it'll be a third down punting situation for Glenn Harper, and we remind you he is kicking into a stiff breeze.
You have to wonder how long it would take before Vespasiani would look to Johnson and go in and take control if Fodor has a problem moving the ball in the first quarter.
Well, you don't want to do it too early, but I think everybody who is at this game knowledgeable about the Calgary quarterbacking situation expects to see Rick Johnson in this game, especially if the Stampeders falter offensively, and that's been the case the first 2 times. Harper pulled it down. Now he's going to punt it. And the wind will just have that one right there. Argos should get a no yards and maybe a big return as Darnell Clash picks it up. He's going to get both.
Well, Darnell Clash moves up in the ball well, makes the right decision, gets it, but Harper pulls the ball down because it might be blocked. He only had 10 yards to run for a first down. He could have taken that ball because all the Argonauts had turned and gone downfield to set it up. He pulls it down. Now just go. He's got Tim Petros that could have thrown a block for him. That could have been a first down by the run.
I think the play was a very good one if he hadn't had the wind in his face to kick the ball, and he did it pretty well. But you saw what happened when the ball got up in the air. The wind just held it there, and the punt was only 17 yards. The return was 22, so it's a big gain for the Argonauts. Into Calgary territory at the 48-yard line. And this is what the wind can do. Becomes a game of field position. The Argos are winning it to the tune of 7-0 so far. Everybody in motion out of the backfield. Renfro fires. That was a dangerous pass. The defender was right there on Ken Joyner. And Richie Hall broke it up, but might have been in a position a step sooner to intercept it and go all the way.
Well, that play coming out of the huddle was called. They're going to stick with it. Renfro takes a short drop, and they know where Richie Hall is playing off the receiver. He's got to snap that ball out quickly. Hall reads it and closes nicely.
6 in the secondary again for Calgary. Richie Hall and 5 others. Gilbert Renfro with second down. Argos from the Calgary 48. Pressure from behind. Renfro runs away from it, dives, but won't have the first down.
Vince Goldsmith, who hasn't had a sack in 2 games, which is unusual for him in that rush end position, forces Renfro out of the pocket, and he just runs upfield, and it'll be close.
Oh, they're 2 yards away from a first down, and Lance Chomick will come in for a 47-yard field goal, and with the advantage of the wind, this may be the easiest 47-yarder he tries all season. Just in case, that's Richie Hall back there for the Stampeders. Plenty of distance, and it's accurate. A 10-0 Argonaut lead with the wind. 8.5 minutes left in the first quarter, so the Stampeders have to do something about the score and have to start moving the football. Otherwise, the field position is going to kill them.
Well, the Argonauts did something a little bit different there. Usually in a field goal formation, the offensive linemen will stay with their hands or their elbows on their knees. This time they go down into a 3-point stance when Kangemi makes a quick call for the snap. Trying to pull them offside and get themselves a first down, but everyone on the Calgary side of the ball held on.
Well, the Stampeders are going to take another kickoff from Lance Chomick. Calgary leads the league in kickoff return yardage, which is not exactly a great statistic to lead the league in. It's good that you can return it for yards, but it also indicates you're receiving entirely too many kickoffs when that happens.
Well, you only want to return 1 or 2 kickoffs a game. You're right, that's a statistic that they don't want to look at too optimistically.
Well, they'll be receiving their 3rd one of this game, and this game, as we say, is just in the middle of the first quarter.
You know, considering the wind where it is, they've really had good field position when they've had their offensive team on the field. First time was about the 24-yard line. McVeigh returned the last kickoff to almost midfield. So they've had great opportunities as far as field position goes.
Hopkins from his 5-yard line. This time the Argos special teams keep the kick return to a minimum, 20 yards after the 3rd straight 70-yard kickoff by Lance Chomick. Folder stays in. Stampeders down 10 points. Carl Folder still looking for his first completed pass, completed to a Stampeder, that is.
Vespasiani said before the game they'll be helping Fodor out, calling some plays through Rick Johnson, sending him in, and he can refer to that playlist that's attached to his wrist and try to give him as much help as they can.
Another bad pass from Carl Fodor. He was intending it for Larry Willis. And the fans begin to get restless, as you knew they would if the Stampeders got off to this sort of start. I don't know what the sentiment is for Rick Johnson among the fans. I suppose we'll know if he comes into the game whether he gets cheered or booed.
Gerald Bayless back in the defensive line. That type of rush is what they're looking for. I don't think the Stampeder offensive line can afford to put just one man on Bayless.
Gerald Bayless will be coming again on 2nd down and 10. Holder is not going to escape this rush. A big loss back inside the Calgary 10-yard line. So now the field position is bad for a 3rd down punt. The wind is still blowing at Glenn Harper, and the Argonauts can rub their hands with glee and figure on getting the ball in Calgary territory once again.
Well, once again, Bayless is on a man-to-man situation with an offensive lineman. They don't double team him. He flushes them out of the pocket, and Harding takes him down. But I'm surprised they're dropping back. Why not with a guy like Fodor and his running ability, sprint him outside, take the pressure off him.
Rodney Harding and Gerald Bayless combined for that sack. From the end zone, Harper line drives a pretty good punt under the circumstances. It backsplash up to midfield, and he tries to get outside. He is running back into his own territory and gives up 4 yards. Still, though, the Argos are in pretty good shape with a 10-0 lead and the ball near midfield.
Darnell crash on the return. He loses 3 yards.
It was a great punt by Glenn Harper into the wind, 45 yards. Darnell Clash helped out the Stampeders a little bit more by running backwards. The Argos at their 52-yard line. Renfro with time to adjust. He had Paul Pearson open, but overthrew it.
Great protection once again. The offensive line is doing a good job of keeping the heat off the quarterback. Pearson is coming open down the middle, but that's when that wind can be a problem. That ball's going to carry an extra 4 or 5 yards. They needed more heat. Bernie Morrison from the middle linebacker spot tries to add some extra heat on the quarterback. They still do a great job of picking it up. That front five of Beckstead, Ferroni, Schultz, Skemp, and Prunster have done a good job to this point.
Renfro had a chance to throw to what was probably his third receiver in that play. This time the pressure comes, but the Argos throw around it to Gil Fennedy with lots of running room inside the Calgary 40 to the 37-yard line. A big gain and a great call.
It was a great call. It was nicely set up. That's just a quick hitch past your running back. Get a guard or a tackle out in front of him, and that's exactly what happens. Calgary comes free, but it doesn't matter because Renfro gets the ball off quickly. Schultz throws a little bit too early on the defensive back. Otherwise, Fennedy might have taken it to the end zone.
Everything going Toronto's way, including the wind in this first quarter. First carry for Tony Johns, the starting fullback in place of an injured Warren Hudson.
Tony Johns.
You talked to Obilovich about his offensive line as compared to 2 or 3 years ago when they were running that run and shoot type of offense. He said they're so much bigger and more aggressive and stronger than they used to be because they have to be now. We've changed our style of offense. We've got the quarterbacks that can drop back and throw the ball from the pocket. And they've got the people they think, especially with Ferroni back off that hamstring injury.
Second down, Toronto. Renfro throws near side, wide open. Paul Pearson at the 25 to the 21-yard line. The Argos move the sticks again.
Well, you want to be able to score when you've got the wind, and the Argo offense, the way they're playing right now, I don't think it would have mattered if they were with or against the wind. They're just controlling the defense of the Stampeders.
In an interesting situation entering this game, a lot of people were talking about when the second quarterbacks would get into the game. Not only Rick Johnson, but John Conjemi for the Toronto Argonauts, who is projected as Toronto's #1 man, but he needn't warm up the way Renfro is going. Renfro looked to try to hand to Fennedy. There was a mix-up, and Renfro scrambles for what he can get inside the 20.
Well, it can get kind of depressing for a defensive lineman. Every time they've had the ball to this point, they've just gone down the field. And here's the man they want to get somebody with more pressure from, and Hallman just gets upfield, makes the read, but is behind the play all the way.
2nd and 7.
Just inside the 20-yard line of the Stampeders, the Argonauts on second down have Renfro pumping once and twice, and he goes down as the ball comes loose, obviously well after the play had been blown dead. A sack for the Stampeders, and it'll force another Lance Chomick field goal attempt.
Good job by the defensive secondary of the Stampeders. They made Renfro hold on to the ball even longer than he's been allowed to sit in that pocket, and finally the defensive line, with some help from a blitzing linebacker, close in on him.
They will spot the ball for Chomick at the 28-yard line. He was good from 47 earlier. Trying to build the Argos lead to 13-0. And that's exactly what he does as Toronto continues in command of this first quarter. Argos trying to move to second place ahead of Hamilton in the CFL East. Lance Chomick has kicked 2 field goals. He's kicked a convert, and he's now preparing to kick off for the 4th time in this first quarter, which has almost 4 minutes left in it. The Argos would like it to last even longer, as they've got the wind, and they've certainly got the upper hand against the Stampeders in every other way as well.
Bob Obilovich was the one thing he wanted to change around from the earlier on this season, is having his offense get off to a better start and not put so much pressure on his defense early, when he's got exactly that today.
Hopkins and McVeigh are deep once again for the Stampeders. Hopkins right there at his 5-yard line. took a hit, got over the 30, and the Stampeders will scrimmage there. Once again, Carl Fodor comes on to the field.
He gets 25 yards, brought down at the Calgary 31 yard.
In Friday's game, Hamilton's win over the BC Lions, our Canada Lease MVP was Tiger Cat linebacker Ben Zambiazzi. Will be selecting the Canada Lease MVP following today's game. Fodor does spread out this time, has all sorts of room to run. He wants to throw it, and it is no good. It was juggled, and the pass was not caught. Fodor should have run on that play.
Well, they're starting to do some things that are going to take some pressure off of him. That pass could have been caught. It's just a nice play. He gets to the outside, as you said. He could have run, but why not get it downfield, get some confidence in your receivers that, yes, I can throw the ball downfield and be successful.
He had one man to beat, and I think enough speed to do it to the outside. Every pass he's thrown today has been a risky one, and I just thought that the safer bet that time would have been to pick up a first down, which the Stampeders so badly need. Now 2nd and 10 from the 31. And now they take too much time. They'll move backwards.
Calgary number 11. 2nd down repeated.
Oftentimes when you send plays in, you've got to get into the huddle. Your quarterback's got to call the play and then get back out. And when you have to wait for a play to come in from the sidelines like that, you lose 3 or 4 seconds. You got to get in and out crisply, get to the line, and then identify what the defense is and make a change if you have to.
2nd and 15. The ball at the 26. Fodor has time. Flag comes down. Pass is incomplete. There are flags downfield as well. So we might guess that holding is one call against Calgary and pass interference the other call against the Argos. That's right, Bob.
Pass interference, Toronto 27. Holding, Calgary 57. The 2nd down repeated.
Well, they get a break. They get an opportunity to move the football one more time, but they don't. We talked about, they just don't look like they've got any enthusiasm right now. They've got their hands full. Bob Pulley back in the offensive line is a benefit, but it's hard on that left hand of his because his wrist can't bend because it's been broken. He's got a cast on it. It's going to be tough for him to block Bayless one-on-one.
See if Fodor drops straight back or tries to roll out on 2nd and 15. He retreats, he throws, and that ball is up for grabs and batted away by the Toronto Argonauts, who will receive a Glenn Harper punt. That's probably the best pass that Fodor has thrown, but the coverage was fine.
Well, the coverage was excellent. But again, you're right, that was the best pass he's thrown, but it was still a little bit high. He seems, maybe he's just a little bit anxious and antsy, and he's not delivering the ball the way he would normally would if he was relaxed.
Harper's average hasn't been helped by the wind, but that 45-yarder made it somewhat respectable at 31 yards. Into the wind again, pretty good for Harper. He backs up Darnell Clash to his 35-yard line. Clash now heads upfield, and we'll get to the 37-38-yard line. So Harper kicks 49 yards into the wind, and I don't think the wind has abated at all. The flags are still stiff, so Harper doing a fine job.
3 yards on the return.
Coming up on the Canadian Football Network, the Edmonton Eskimos, fresh from another victory for new coach Joe Farragalli, will play these Argos Friday at Exhibition Stadium, Toronto, and the Stampeders will travel to Ottawa on Sunday. Renfro hands to Fennerty. He's going to get outside, needs a block, doesn't get that block. Good pursuit defensively for the Stampeders from Darrell Toussaint.
One way to defend against a good running back is take away the holes where he's supposed to run and keep bouncing him outside, because the pursuit will finally get him or force him out of bounds.
Nothing for Fennerty on first down. The Argos haven't been in their own zone very much in this first quarter. Renfro, a bullet pass and a first down pass. Cutting over the middle. Feeling too well after taking the hit is Paul Pearson, and he's going to stay down.
Well, Paul Pearson is just returning after a very severe hamstring pull earlier on the season, and they like to have him playing inside at the slot back. Sure-handed, runs really disciplined patterns, but he takes a shot there, and I just can't imagine that he gets hurt again. And he has the worst luck.
Gilbert Renfro's stats haven't been too good. The best stat of all, though, is that he's won his last 2 starts, but today he's putting some numbers on the board and firing the ball very impressively.
He looks confident setting up in the pocket. It was mentioned today, someone had said that he looks a little bit like Warren Moon used to when he set back up. He's tall, he throws the ball with authority, and he will throw the ball into coverage because of the strength of his arm. That's the kind of confidence he has, and it's only getting greater because he's playing better every time he gets a chance to get on the field.
It's easy to second guess, but you wonder whether Ottawa is having any second thoughts about the decision to keep Dillon and Pau and let Renfro go.
Well, I think Ottawa's happy the way Dillon has come along, and Fred Glick has said Joe Pau has been a big help to the quarterback, to Dillon, taught him an awful lot. He's a big fan of his. There is no controversy of who wants to play. He knows Dillon's the quarterback of the future, and Pau plays when he gets a chance and helps with the other times.
And in Ottawa, the fans are wondering about Reggie Collier, the former USFL star and former Dallas Cowboy, though he would obviously not be considered a star there. Never did play at quarterback for Dallas, but Reggie Collier's had some things to say since getting to Ottawa, and he is a possible addition to the Riders lineup. He says he thinks he can be ready to play by next Sunday when the Riders host these Stampeders. So after Pearson's catch, the Argos scrimmage first down at their 53. As we're in the final minute of this first quarter, a very good one for the Argos. Fennerty finds that hole well and then runs away from tacklers and gets to the 39-yard line. That's Gil Fennerty at his best, deciding where to go and then showing that he can go there with speed and moves.
Yeah, you're right. It really is Fennerty at his best. The ankle looks 100%. He hits up in there and gets a chance to pick the hole. Skemp comes around and seals off that corner for him, and now he pops outside, shows his speed.
Reduced price is $12. These special tickets are available in all Calgary stores.
From the Calgary 39. Fennerty once more. And he made 5 good yards. Other backs mightn't have made anything on that play. It was
Again, Fennerty carries.
Gil Fennerty running for the Argos, and he really is a key part of this offense in every respect, both running and receiving. The threat that he can do both, I think, helps everything else the Argos do.
Oh, it sure takes the pressure off the quarterback in their passing game because of his abilities to come out of the backfield in a draw situation or just straight handoff.
2nd and 5 Argos, and after this play they are going to lose the wind. Flags come down, and it looks as though they took too much time getting that play underway. As I said, they're trying to make the first quarter longer. Play with the wind. Paul Pearson took a shot in the back when he caught that pass, and he does expect a return. An unlikely looking football star, would you say?
Time count foul, number 14 Toronto. 2nd down repeated.
Paul Pearson not big, not fast, just effective.
Oh, and very effective when he gets a chance to play, but I'm sure he can't believe his luck. He finally gets a chance, and now he gets banged up a little bit again.
One more play with a win for the Argos. They have to retreat 5 yards, however. Renfro, lots of time, and what a catch by Darrell Smith. As good as you'll see. Darrell Smith hauls it in from Gilbert Renfro to end the first quarter, and the Argos will have a scoring opportunity when the second quarter begins on the Canadian Football Network.
Score after 15 minutes. Argos 30.
The second quarter begins with the Argos trying to add to that 13-0 lead. A great catch by Darrell Smith has them in a position to do so. First down, it's Fennerty to the 10 and into the 7-yard line.
Out of the last 5 plays, this play has been the one that has been most successful. They're pulling the line out and giving Fennerty a place to run. He gets to choose it. It's not necessarily designed, and his ability to move laterally and get away from tacklers is just tremendous.
And the Argos point out that he continues to do it on an ankle that isn't yet 100% healthy, and I think you see there that there's still a slight limp after Fennerty got up from the bottom of the pile. He got up at the 7-yard line. Second down, they need almost 4 for a first down. And again, a time count violation charged against the Argonauts. That's the 3rd such penalty in this game, 2 to Toronto.
Got it. Time count foul, number 14, Toronto. Second down, repeated.
Renfro might have seen something at the line of scrimmage, and he had an opportunity to change off his plays late. He just didn't have enough times. That 20-second clock disappears quickly on you.
Renfro prepares to get this play underway. Fires in a hurry, and another great Darrell Smith catch for another Argo touchdown.
Well, that's 2 great catches in a row for Smith. He just goes up and takes this away. Richie Hall has pretty good coverage, but Renfro stands in there and just delivers the ball. He's got great protection. Once again, they're popping up front. Finley's blitzing right in his face. He still has time. He never takes his eyes off his receiver, and that's the maturity you see in Renfro that Bob Obilovich likes so much. And a great circus-type catch by Smith.
So when the Stampeders finally get the ball with the wind, they're going to be down 20 points as Chomik makes it a Toronto 20 and Calgary nothing. And Darrell Smith and Gilbert Renfro were great on that drive.
Well, you have to be impressed by the way this quarterback is going to stand in there. He knows what's happening. He's read the defense, and he knows he has to deliver the ball late. And Smith is pretty well covered by Richie Hall, but he just goes up and literally takes it away. I mean, he wants that touchdown. I don't know what else he can say to him to help him out, because the last 2 catches he's been made have been just tremendous.
Toronto Argonauts trying for their 3rd straight victory. Couldn't ask for a better start. The Stampeders' worst fears are being realized. That was a 9-play, 73-yard drive by Renfro, and it had everything. Good passes, great catches, and strong running by Gil Fennerty.
This turf will be tough on Fennerty's ankle. I'm sure it's well taped up, and I think he's also wearing a high-cut boot, but the turf really takes its toll on ankles that are in good shape, and I wonder how long he'll be able to last today, even not getting it twisted or hit, just the stress of the turf.
Because of the wind, the Calgary kick returners are standing upfield. They have received all their other kicks at the 5-yard line. Chomik isn't going to begin to get this one that deep. It goes to an up man at the 35-yard line, and so the Stampeders, with the wind, get good field position right off the bat. The kick only 40 yards, so the wind cost them 30 yards in the kickoff. A 13-yard return. Carl Foder still in at quarterback for the Stampeders. He has not yet completed a pass.
Well, he should have settled down by now. I'm sure Johnson and Vespasiani, they've all been huddling on the sidelines talking about what they have to do to this Argonaut defense to be successful, and what he has to do to get things done properly and execute.
Stampeders at their own 48. Sprint left for Foder. Fires and completes a pass. His first one to Tony Woodruff, and the crowd cheers. Some of them mean it, and others have some derision attached to their noise.
Well, as he said, get him out of the pocket, give him an opportunity, what he does well physically. Let him run with the football. He could have tucked it, or now he put some good zip on it. Woodruff makes a straight cut outside, comes back to the sidelines. Now he's making it easier for his quarterback.
Stampeders go 1st and 10 from the Argo 41. Foder is running to his right, and here's the room to run again if he wants it. He hesitated and waited too long to decide to run the ball, and that allowed Willie Pless to come up and make the tackle, and he does it better than most in the CFL.
Well, the one thing about sprinting out, you've got to deal with linebackers that will close in on you quickly, and I don't think there are too many linebackers in the CFL that can run with running backs or quarterbacks, but here's one of them right here. He's as active a linebacker as there is in the CFL, and he made 13 tackles last week against Toronto, and most of them were in the second half against Calgary.
Fodor made a gain of 5 yards. Gary Allen with the ball, and he sprints into the clear. Allen at the 15 uses the sidelines and gets all the yardage he can, and that gets him to the 6. I think they really do have to get more out of Gary Allen, whether they throw on the ball or hand in the ball. He was such a factor last year and really hasn't been this season.
No, last week he showed signs of returning to the form he had last year. Returned a few punts for good yards, ran the ball well, and also caught the ball out of the backfield. But you're right, his abilities just add to an offensive system. If they can use him, the more they can use him, the better off they'll be.
First and goal, it is imperative that the Stampeders get in and get on the scoreboard and get back in this game. Allen again for a couple of yards. Got into about the 4. And now Fodor looks to Vespasiani for a big call on second down.
Well, do you try to pound it up in there and bring in your elephant team, which is an expression used for the short yardage team, or do you try to throw the ball or get him out of the pocket again? Let him sprint.
Well, I think if he has a desire to run with it, I think the sprint out is a pretty good idea. Argos, of course, can defend against that possibility, having seen how quickly he gets there earlier in this drive. He's going to hand it to Allen again, and they're ready for him. He perhaps made a yard, but it's going to be third down. And now there are many, many coaches in the stands who have decided already that the Stampeders should go for it. This is the guy who has to make the decision, and he perhaps is going to agree.
Well, it puts the Argonauts in a pretty tough position. Even if they don't make it, they're down on their 2-yard line, and the defense has to come up big and stop them in 2 plays. But I'll tell you that the Argos are popping down there. There's some real hitting going on, and they're doing a good job of moving to the football, led by Plus.
Well, this might be regarded as a key play in the game when we look back on it. Third down to Fodor. Fires deep to the end zone. It is incomplete, and the Stampeders do not get a point. It remains Toronto 20 and Calgary nothing.
I did turn it in. He came in. I don't touch.
Well, the Argo defense stands strong and keeps the Stampeders out of the end zone. Calgary deciding not to take 3 points and deciding to pass on third down. Now what will the Argos do? They give the ball to Tony Johns. He goes nowhere. At best to the line of scrimmage. And the thinking on Calgary's gamble obviously is hold him here, and we'll get another scoring opportunity by making the Argos punt into the wind, though the league's best punter will be doing that. Can't do better than scoring every time you get the ball, and that's what the Argos have done.
No, you certainly can. And Obilovich, as we've said earlier, wanted his offense to get a quick start, and that's starting as quickly as you can. Every time you get the ball, get some points.
Less than 10 minutes of the first half. The Argos leading by 20. Going into the wind, second down and 10. Renfro will pass, and he'll throw it a long way into that wind. Mike Soroshka can't catch up to it. There's Rick Johnson. He has been warming up. Now he's on the telephone. Those are telltale signs that he's getting ready to take off that hat and put a hard one on.
Well, I'm sure he's not wishing or hoping that Fodor is not successful, but at the same time, he's chomping at the bit. I know, as aggressive and as competitive as he is, he wants to get in the game and prove that he's ready to play some football. Put all the talk and what's gone on before this game aside. Let's just see if we can win a football game, and let me be the one to win it.
Before the hat change must come another telephone conversation, but there's Johnson. Just took off his hat now and put his helmet on. So we expect to see him when the Stampeders get the ball. Lisick does punt well, wind or no wind. Little razzle-dazzle to Richie Hall for the Stampeders. He's going to make yards with it and go to the 33-yard line. And here comes Rick Johnson. And the fans can realize that.
Well, he's had the opportunity to see what has gone on in the first quarter, what the Argonaut defense is doing, and maybe what now he can do. Feels a little bit more comfortable, I'm sure, and now he knows he's got the support of the fans, and the players are rallying around him in the huddle. Let's get some points. That's what they got to do right now.
Well, Fodor's chance to stay in the game was 3rd and 2, and When the Stampeders didn't score, that was it for the rookie starter, and on comes the veteran replacement, last year's all-star in the CFL, Rick Johnson, to throw on first down, and he should have completed it. Didn't get any help from Petros. The fullback out of the backfield had it right in his hands and could not grasp it.
Well, it's starting to get a little bit chippy. After last week, I'm sure that the Stampeders felt they had chances to score in situations like this, when they've got a first down and a reception and they're just giving it away. And welcome to the game.
Yep, Johnson's on his back and right into this game. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Receivers right and left for Johnson. He throws over the middle, right into the arms of an Argonaut. Another interception for Toronto free safety Rick Ryan. Oh, it can happen to Johnson as well as it can happen to Fodor, and it's happened well for the Argonauts. 2 interceptions, and the Argos deny the Stampeders and another scoring chance.
Well, Ryan just had to drop straight back and read the quarterback. Johnson's reading Emmanuel Tobert to break over the middle. Tobert isn't even looking up for the football. Drops right into Ryan's hands, and now they turn onto an offensive team and try to make some yards.
Reggie Pleasant had an earlier interception, this one by Rick Ryan, and the 3rd and 2 that didn't make it. 3 Calgary turnovers, none for the Argos. They've protected the ball well. Another completion for Renfro, though Dave McCrary will hold the gain to a minimum, taking down Mike Soroshka. And there is Rick Ryan from Kamloops, British Columbia, getting the Argos the football and turning the Stampeders back to defense.
Attitude is so important in the game of football. Good football teams prepare and approach a football game knowing they're going to go in and win it. There's no question. But losing can become a habit, and much more of this, and the Stampeders are going to have a hard time getting back into the football game.
2nd down 6 for Renfro and the Argos. Look at all the time he's got, and he'll run. And he is close to the first down.
Gain of close to 7 yards.
He gets an opportunity to get a good look at the defense. Nothing's coming open. The defensive backs has done a good job, and now he starts to run, and everyone's going to close on him. Darcy Kopp gets a chance to push him out of bounds with Bernie Morrison hot on his heels. But when a quarterback can do that, you've got to give the Stamps defensive secondary credit, because no one's coming open. But at the same time, you have to contain a quarterback that can run the football like that.
Well, against the wind, first downs are very valuable. It allows the Argonauts to keep the football away from Calgary. Kennedy, and you see the way he can slip a tackle at the line of scrimmage. The 2nd time McCrary got him, but Gil Fennerty very tough to bring down. John Conjemi from University of Pittsburgh back into an Argonaut uniform in this game. I guess the way he'd like to get into the ball game is for Renfro to build the lead to such proportions that the Argonauts took it easy and started to make substitutions all over the place.
Well, they certainly like him at quarterback, but they've got to be happy with what Renfro has done in the last 3 games.
Still no pressure from Calgary. Darrell Smith has been putting on a pass receiving clinic in this game. Another first down. The Stampeders had hoped to put more pressure on the quarterback, but it really isn't evident.
No, they haven't. And what they're going to have to do is take some chances now defensively. Bring some extra people and some out of the defensive secondary, because they have to get pressure on him. And if he continues to make catches like this, Darrell Smith could make any quarterback look good.
Stamps were such a good team rushing the quarterback last year, led by Rookie of the Year Harold Hallman, but they're not repeating that. They were also a good team at preventing quarterback sacks last year, and that hasn't been the case either.
Well, one of the complaints earlier on is the new defensive system. They felt it was hard to understand, and it really held them back from being aggressive.
Renfro screen to Fennerty. Look at those moves. Could be another Argo first down. If not, it's going to be very close. Toronto 20 and Calgary nothing. Under 6 minutes to go first half. Gil Fennerty made another Argo first down. Toronto at the Calgary 42. Gil the throw once more. The Yardsticks will move downfield as the Argos do. The ball apparently came loose, but doesn't change possession.
Gain of 14 yards. Another Toronto first down.
At halftime today, stay with us for a close-up look at exciting Toronto rookie Gil Fenerty, who, ankle injury or not, is tough to bring down.
You know, I'm just learning what it's like to be a professional athlete, and you know, I'm sure this isn't going to be the only injury I have to play with.
Here he is again. A flag will be included in this play. Fenerty takes a pop as he gets to the 20-yard line, and Ken Lazaruk will tell us what happened.
Holding, Toronto 66.
Well, it's good to see the defense of the Stampeders starting to pop some people. They put a good hit on the last time Fenerty got the ball, and this time they also laid a good shot on him again. So at least it shows they're not going to lay down. They're going to try to punish people as much as they can.
Kelvin Prunster, the guilty party. The Argonauts are penalized for holding. But we have less than 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, and it's almost as though the Stampeders haven't had the advantage of the wind at all. They've had a chance to score with it, but 3rd and 2 didn't make it, and then the pass interception, and the Argos have had the ball the rest of the way. First down, 20 yards to go. Renfro, quick drop, pump, and he'll go long, trying for Joyner, and the coverage is good there. Joyner had to wait for the ball and just couldn't get back to it.
Ron Hopkins did a good job of staying with his receiver, and then he also got some help from Greg Peterson coming over late. They're in that nickel defense, which is 6 defensive backs. They want to try to get to the outside on that. Just good coverage here. The ball's underthrown, but you can't fault the coverage on that.
And the intelligence of the veteran Hopkins to turn around and pick up the ball when he realized that to continue to run looking at Joyner could have created a pass interference situation, but that was excellent coverage all the way by Hopkins. So 2nd and 20. Renfro, Darryl Smith is catching everything thrown at him. This one not for a first down, but it's going to make a field goal try into the wind easier for Lance Chomik. Smith has had a sensational day.
Well, it's good to see wide receivers going over the middle and catching the football. A lot don't like to do it, but the good ones all do, and know they're going to take a shot from that safety coming up from behind. But he's really one of the reasons they're ahead, because his ability to catch the football today, not only just spectacular catches, but in a crowd.
Lance Chomik from 29 yards out into the wind. Those two were made with the wind. Stampeders come offside, and we might have a first down Argonauts because of this penalty. The field goal is good. So the Argos will have a decision to make. Out the Argos don't have a decision to make. Lance Chomik has another kick to make. They called illegal procedure against the Argos. The Stampeders took the penalty quite naturally because the kick was good, and they will ask Chomik to do it again. And he does. So the Argos have a 23-0 lead that they thought they had a moment ago.
I haven't seen the Argonaut offense be in control like this since the first game against Winnipeg. They started off slowly, but they really played well against Winnipeg, even though they lost. But with Konjemi at quarterback at that time, they controlled the football, they moved the ball downfield, and they looked sharp and crisp. And that's exactly the way they look on defense and on offense today.
It's been a busy day for Chomik and for Gilbert Renfro, the quarterback. The Stampeders in a deeper hole now, down by 23 points, 3 minutes, 19 seconds left in the first half, and that's as much time as the Stampeders are going to have with the wind.
Well, we look at Renfro and Konjemi going over the list that is made by Konjemi on the sidelines of plays that have been run and that are successful against certain defenses.
Would really do the Argos good to get a victory, and an impressive one in this game, because their upcoming schedule is about as tough as it gets in this league. They go home to play Edmonton on the Canadian Football Network Friday. Then they play BC, Hamilton, Edmonton, Hamilton, and BC in their next 6. It does get tougher from here. Well-placed kickoff by Chomik. McVeigh still hasn't got his hands on it. And he can't break a tackle to get a good return, so the Argos push the Stampeders back once again. The tackle was made by backup linebacker Bruce Elliott.
The Argo offense really chewed some time off that clock, and it's now only going to give Rick Johnson and the offense 3 minutes and 15 seconds to make something happen before this first half ends.
Johnson tries to recover from his interception. Scrimmage line, the 28 of Calgary. To the sidelines, over the head of the intended receiver, Emmanuel Tolbert, rather, could not pull it in.
Don Moen of the Argonauts is covering Emmanuel Tolbert, just a little bit behind, but he's one of the men, the Iron Men on that football team, one of their best defensive players.
Play whistle in 2:55, and the clock moves. That's the time remaining in the first half. Stampeders second down from their 28. Johnson hits Tolbert this time, and Emmanuel Tolbert, against his old team, goes to the territory of the Toronto Argonauts at the 51-yard line, and the fans finally have some reason to cheer in Calgary.
Well, Rick Johnson has plenty of time. That front five of the Stampeders does a good job of giving Johnson something to look at downfield, and Tolbert goes across the middle underneath the linebacker Mayberry and Pless, and then gets upfield.
Good hit by Reggie Pleasant, but not until after Tolbert had gained 31 yards. Johnson flares it out. Gary Allen puts his head down and dives close to the 40. That's first down yardage for the Stampeders, or close to it. They move the ball back to the 41, so it's going to be second down and inches to go.
Well, when everyone's covered downfield and you have your two running backs flaring out, the confidence to hit them is there, because he knows both of them can do a good job of getting the ball upfield.
2 first downs in a row would be an accomplishment for the Stampeders. Down inbounds is Tolbert, and the sticks will move again. Calgary's problem is that there's only 2:24 left in the second quarter, and I guess the Stampeders now have to just tell themselves, let's get a touchdown before halftime and at least erase the 0.
Well, it looks like the snap's back in Rick Johnson's arm. He just dropped back, and almost like we saw him last year, looked downfield and just released that ball to the wide side of the field.
From the Argos 37. Johnson tries to take advantage of these recent completions. He's going to give it to Gary Allen. Allen down the sideline, should score. It is a Calgary touchdown. There is a flag back up at the line of scrimmage. And the Argo defenders are waving, come on back. The Stampeder offense doesn't realize it yet. But talk about dejection. That's what will set in immediately.
Holding, 54 Calgary, first down repeated.
Rod Smith on Marlon Jones. That's why Allen was able to get outside so easily and take it down the sidelines. From behind, it looks like he gets a good chance to put him right on his back, but he hooks up with him. You see him right there. Number 9, he's got that 0 is almost being torn off his back. That's why Allen can get to the outside.
10 yards back to the Argo 47. Gary Allen's long run goes for naught. Here's Johnson, deep drop. Down he goes. On the Calgary side of midfield, newcomer Jim Iliopoulos, an NFL veteran, breaking into the Argo lineup for the first time today, wearing number 75, is there with a reason to smile.
The first to get through and get in Johnson's face is Marlon Jones, who to this point in the season has 21 quarterback pressures but no sacks. So I think we should give him a half a sack on that.
Iliopoulos was there as the second man. Second down and 30 yards to go or thereabouts. Johnson will have to throw this one long. He won't throw it at all. Gerald Bayless, another quarterback sack, and so the Stampeders, who thought they had a touchdown, have nothing, and undoubtedly are going to go to the dressing room unless something good can happen. with no first half points.
Well, there's a bit of a sacrifice inside. Iliopoulos gives it up inside and lets Bayless come around on a stun, and he comes completely free. But the defensive secondary and linebackers did a good job in coverage because Johnson had nowhere to throw the football.
Gerald Bayless. It almost looks as though there's some letters not there, and the ones that are out of place, but Ron Wheeler is down for the Stampeders. And one measure of the problems Calgary has faced in this game is that Glenn Harper hasn't had a chance to punt with the wind until now, and now really doesn't do him much good with only 2 minutes left in the half.
Calgary offense can't afford to lose. Big Ron Wheeler, big target at 6'5", 230 out of the University of Washington. He's had 200-yard games in a row and could have caught a lot more passes last week against Toronto because coverages were being blown. And they were lucky that he didn't get more, according to Bob Obilovich, but he's a big target in there, and he's also a good blocker, so they want to keep him in that offense.
As CFL fans realize, large early leads have not meant very much in this league this season. 23-0 doesn't mean the game is over, but obviously the Stampeders have to play much better, and the Argos are a team that excelled defensively in the third quarter. Nobody's scored on them yet in the third period. There's Harper's punt with the win. It's not going to break the goose egg on the scoreboard, though, as Darnell Clash comes back with it. A minute 45. The Argos will be quite happy if they can keep the ball away from Calgary and take this 23-point lead to the dressing room.
Well, all they have to do is do what they've been doing. They've been running the ball so effectively with Gil Fennerty and throwing the ball so well, short and long. I'm sure Calgary might decide to take a few chances here, try to gamble and try to create a turnover, something they haven't done a lot of this year.
Ron Wheeler being looked at by trainer Pat Clayton. 56-yard punt by Harper, but the Argos are still in decent shape, not near their goal line, and Fennerty will get them a little farther upfield.
Well, you like the way he hits up in the line and slides to the left and then goes straight upfield one more time. He doesn't waste time in between those moves. He's so doggone slippery in that lateral movement that we talked about. Gets him outside, but then he doesn't dance. He accelerates upfield.
Now, the moves, when he makes them, are very decisive. He knows where he's going, where he wants to go, and has a good spurt to be able to get there. 2nd and 6 from the 20. Fennerty again. Close to a first down, and the measurement is going to be pretty important. The Stampeders trying to get the ball back, trying to get some points. If the Argos have a first down here, it's going to be doubtful that Calgary will get the ball back, though they have a timeout they can still use.
Well, the Argonauts look so confident right now. They've something that they have been missing throughout this season. Going into a football game, knowing what they can do and being able to do it are two different things. And now they seem to be confident the fact that they can go in and do whatever they want against Calgary, the things they've practiced during the week, the things that they've prepared for.
Third down, even though it is fairly deep in their own zone, it looks as though the Argonauts are going to go for it. They do not want to give up the ball. The punt would be into the wind, although you've got Alisic to kick it. Oh, would you question this call or not?
I would, especially, as you said, the way Alisic can punt into the wind. Though you get it, you're taking a chance of having your punt blocked.
Renfro dives ahead. It looks as though he has the first down. How much of a gamble there is in making half a yard or less in the CFL is an argument in itself, but the Argos took a bit of a risk there.
Well, like you said, that there is a yard between the defensive line and the offensive line, and people might assume it's a piece of cake to pick up that 1 yard, but if you get a defensive group of linemen that come off the ball and get underneath an offensive line, they can stop that surge. Then there's no place for the quarterback to go.
Argos will try to run 3 more plays and let the first half run out. This is Johns. He's hit at the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of a yard. Now the Stampeders should probably think about calling a timeout with 46 seconds to go.
Tony Johns would fill in at halfback, the native of Kingston, Jamaica. Obilovich likes his abilities as a blocker and feels quite comfortable, as I said, of putting him at halfback as if something were to happen to Fennerty.
The clock is stopped. The Stampeders will hope to stop the Argos on second down and then have the football with maybe 20 seconds, not much more than that remaining. And if Alisic gets any kind of a punt away, then the Stampeders are not going to have good field position.
I think Calgary had mentioned that they would like to put some heat on Alisic when he did punt the football, but that hasn't been a whole lot yet in this game.
Mr. Mayor Ralph Klein of Calgary watching this game.
Looks like he has a pretty good seat too. I guess he, being the mayor, he gets a good seat.
Well, he could get up in the press box in his former days. I think the credentials still qualify. Fennerty dives ahead, not much there, so the Argos will punt. Bernie Morrison goes high five with Ron Hopkins on the defensive play. Alisic will punt. 42 seconds showing now. The Argos will let it run before they do punt it. So the Stampeders are going to have about 15 seconds left, and they'll need a big return from Gary Allen or perhaps Richie Hall to try to be in scoring position when they do scrimmage the ball.
Well, I'm sure they'd like to be able to get something before the half is over, even if it was a field goal.
It's only the second time Alisic has punted.
Ready!
Both into the wind. The first one was good. This time he's going to run. Now he fires the ball. Did he throw it or kick it? I think he threw the ball.
I think he threw the ball too.
Incomplete. They're going to call it an incomplete pass and give the ball to the Stampeders at the 31. Now, what in the world was Hank Alisic? This isn't Rugger.
Well, he has the best view, and he probably looks and sees the Stampeders are all peeling off and turning and running, but they do a good job of closing in from the outside. Quincy Williams is responsible to make sure the punter kicks the ball. There are two people on either side of the football. Make sure the punter kicks the ball before you turn your back.
But for that, the Argos did nothing wrong in this first half, but that was wrong. Now the Stampeders have a shot. Johnson fires the ball, intercepted. Another one for Rick Ryan, his second of the game, and so much for that. Hank Alisic could have thrown it behind his back. It wasn't going to hurt the Argos.
Well, Rick Ryan brought to the Toronto Argonauts in the trade with Matt Finley, the outside linebacker of the Calgary Stampeders. Johnson gets good protection here, but it almost looks like he's not reading the defense properly, or the receivers aren't giving him good routes because he's looking for Emmanuel Tolbert, who's coming across the middle, but he overthrows him by a good 10 yards.
8 seconds to go, and the Argonauts can just run a couple of plays, and this first half will be over with Toronto holding a 23-0 lead. And except for Hank Alisic's impersonation of Garo Yepremian, the Argos have been great, and the Stampeders have had an abysmal time in this first half. There will be one more play after that one.
Go down to the ball.
It'll provide a laugh on the way home, I'm sure, at Hank Alisic's expense.
Well, you can laugh at those things when you win the football games. But if Calgary had tried that, it wouldn't have been a happy situation.
This will be the final play of a good first half for Gilbert Renfro and the Toronto Argonauts. Stay tuned for a look at Gil Fennerty at halftime, and he has certainly been a big part of this halftime lead for the Argos. They are in front 23-0. What obviously wasn't too pleasant a time in the dressing room at halftime, although they have a chance to make some adjustments, try some different things. We expect to see Rick Johnson from the outset in the third quarter. The Argonauts have not yet appeared. There is something called a Heritage Day celebration going on at halftime here at McMahon Stadium, and that has meant for a bit longer halftime intermission than normal. Stampeders could use the time, I guess. If there are any new Canadians in this group that can play football, maybe they should be looking. John Helton hasn't played for the Calgary Stampeders since 1978, but the way things are going down there and the way you look up here
too, they controlled the football and really took a lot of time away from when Calgary had the ball and the win in the second quarter. So I don't think that the wind is a deterrent, thinking that, well, we're against the wind, we can't move the football.
Lance Chomik prepares to kick off. And maybe that wind isn't blowing quite so strongly now. The Stampeders bring it back with Ron Hopkins. Off one tackle into the arms of another Argonaut at the 40-yard line. The Stampeders will go on offense. Rick Johnson, the quarterback. We've probably seen the last of rookie Carl Fodor, apart from the possibility of an injury to Johnson.
We might see Johnson start to use his running backs a little more, Petros and Allen. If they're dropping their linebackers deep enough and interfering with the patterns downfield, maybe it's time to pull them up. And to do that, they have to come up and chase some running backs. So maybe they'll start dumping off to the backs more.
Not this time. Johnson gets away from Harding, throws a pass wide open. Gary Allen. He's at the 45, leading ahead to the 46-yard line, so it's a gain of 5 or 6.
6 yards.
They're going to come open. They're going to get some mismatches with the running backs. Their responsibility is to check the linebackers. If the linebackers aren't going to blitz, then either swing out or go downfield and get into the pattern. And by doing that, they make the linebackers aware that they're there and not so much aware of what's going on behind them.
Second and 4, Calgary. Obviously in need of something as fast as possible in this third quarter, down by 23 points. Johnson draw play. Gary Allen has room, dives ahead, and should have the first down. Just barely, mind you, but
Very close to first down yardage.
so Allen on 2 plays has picked up a first down for Calgary, and that is making better use of last year's all-star player. He runs, he catches.
And they'd like to get him doing a lot more of it right now, too.
From the Stampeders' 50-yard line. Johnson will throw on first down. He's going to throw deep. Trying to get there is Larry Willis. He was held up by Darnell Clash quite legally as far as the officials are concerned. And Willis, once he got past Clash, couldn't catch up to the football.
Well, that's a problem with that wind. We'll carry the ball just about 4 or 5 yards further, and I'm sure Johnson's, it's tough to drop a ball over a receiver's shoulder to around the sidelines or any part down the field because of that wind. You've got to get lucky. He was open. That ball's going to carry a bit.
Ron Wheeler was shaken up in the latter stages of the first half. He isn't in there now, but he will come back to the Calgary offense. This is 2nd and 10. Stampeders from their 50. Johnson far sidelines. Tolbert catches the ball and gets a first down and gets out of bounds at the Argo 48.
Emmanuel Tolbert gets downfield and runs just your basic out, but Rick Johnson sets back in that pocket and throws what some people call a frozen rope out to Tolbert. Argos are faking a blitz. They really haven't brought their linebackers much today, and then they bounce right back out and drop into coverage. Again, they're going to have to start to threaten that middle area and make those linebackers move a little bit more, take advantage of it downfield, because that's the only way they're going to get back into the middle.
Argos were last in quarterback sacks in the CFL coming into this week. Johnson fakes a run, and now he tries to do a Hank Olisic by throwing the football, and they're not going to call this one a pass. This is indeed a fumble and another Calgary turnover. So Johnson outthought himself on that.
Well, Don Moen is downfield covering Gary Allen. When Johnson threatens the line of scrimmage, he brings that arm up to fake like he's going to throw it over to Allen. And he just brings it through, slips out of his hands, and that Argo bounce goes right into Don Moen's arms. Actually, it was a nice little play if he hadn't dropped the ball.
5th Calgary turnover. The Argos get the ball at their 40-yard line.
Look at the Argonaut Ironman, 88 straight games, hasn't missed one.
Renfro into coverage, but the ball is right where it should be to Paul Pearson. It's a first down, Toronto near midfield.
This is where a receiver, Paul Pearson's caliber, gets to shine. When the Calgary Stampeders or any defense goes into a zone, he will make his way downfield and find that seam in the zone. He'll read the defensive backs and the linebackers, and then it's just up to the quarterback to throw in between the coverage.
Yard and a half away from midfield. The Argos with another first down, and the wind really isn't important if the Argonauts can continue to move the ball like this. Renfro finds Joyner, another first down Argonauts.
Renfro complete to Joyner.
I think that play was designed to be a swing pass to Fennerty because they had Chris Schultz out in front of him, but it was well covered by Calgary. They took that play away from him. You see the lineman on the left side release. There has to be a secondary receiver, and that's Joyner coming over the middle.
Well, it's a great day for Gilbert Renfro, and the Calgary quarterbacks haven't been able to do anything. From the 43, Renfro to Pearson. Out of bounds, taken there by David McCrary at the 35-yard line. The Calgary quarterbacks were Carl Fodor at the start. Turned out he was fodder. And Rick Johnson is in now.
Well, Bob Obilovich takes a look at his offensive team, move the football down the field against the wind, taking what the Calgary defense is giving him. And in the last play, Paul Pearson is wide open in the flat.
One or two more Argo scores, and we might see John Conjevi just to get him into the game. This is Fennerty to the 25-yard line. Well, another Argo first down.
They're really not doing too much that's real fancy. Fennerty will check his linebackers, then release out to the flat. It's up to the linebacker to get on him quickly. Not until he gets upfield. And the old turf monster jumped up and grabbed that foot of Fennerty's.
When his moves are so good that they fool himself, the Stampeders bring him down. Flag as Renfro to the end zone. Touchdown to Joyner pending the penalty. Holding against the Argos.
Well, once in a while you get caught. I guess if you looked at every offensive system, an offensive lineman is going to be holding somewhere. It's just whether it affects the play or not, and I guess this one did.
Well, the ball comes back to the 35. It'll be first down again. Despite the penalty, it was another fine pass by Renfro and another good catch by an Argo receiver, Ken Joyner, this time. First down, 20. Joyner flares it to Fennerty, and there's a tackler there, but Fennerty, as he can do, escapes him and a couple more and gets underneath to the 29-yard line.
Have you ever seen him
about 6?
I'm sorry, but have you ever seen anybody get out there, stop dead, and then get going so quickly? And that's really his most effective move. He gets out into the flat, stops, and literally makes the defensive tackler miss, then gets going upfield and repeats the same thing. How do you ever get a beat on somebody like that?
It looks as though you can tackle his elbow or his knee, and just when you go for the elbow, the knee takes him in another direction, and he's past it. There look to be ways to bring down Gil Fennerty, but it doesn't happen too often. Renfro is going down, and what do you know, a quarterback sack, and he came from the secondary, did Greg Peterson, to make that play.
Well, they're gonna, as we said, they're gonna have to gamble if they're gonna put pressure on the quarterback. They're giving up to center with Peterson blitzing. He comes from the right side of the offensive, right side of the defensive line. Finally get some pressure on Renfro.
So the wind isn't going to deter Lance Chomick as he tries to make another field goal. It'll be from a fair distance considering the wind. 44 yards, high snap. It is long enough but wide, and the Stampeders say take 1 point, make it 24-0, and give us the ball in decent field position. First point of the third quarter adds to Toronto's lead. 8:50 left in the third quarter. The Argos with a comfortable lead. Gil Fennerty is rushed and received for 135 yards, and the Stampeders as a team don't have that much.
I'm sure they've reached that point of frustration, possibly on that last play, but Rick Johnson looked like he was going to get a first down, and the ball slipped out of his hands.
There's movement along the line. We won't presume an offside against the Argos because earlier there was an illegal procedure call against an offensive team when offside looked to be the penalty. The Stampeders gain a yard or two and will hope that the Argos were offside. That is the case this time.
Offside, Toronto.
Ken Lazaruk obviously is saying those words. You just can't hear them because of a technical glitch in the microphone. Rodney Harding leaves for the Argos. 70-yard interception last week, one of the talking points of the Argos' victory over the Stampeders.
Well, that look isn't of a man who's in a football game and winning it at the same time. That Calgary bench, there's a lot of people sitting down.
Gary Allen on the running play. Looks to have the first down after the offside penalty was marched off. So Allen's getting a little more work in this second half. The Stampeders do need him to be effective. He can be Calgary's version of Gil Fennerty.
Oh, he certainly can, and that last year was proof of that. Not only his great punt return ability, but coming out of the backfield and catching the football and running the ball wide and in between the tackles.
Rod Harding took a one-play break. He's back. Long pass. Another try at Larry Willis, and Darnell Clash got his hand on it. Willis couldn't.
Second down.
Argos like what they see out of Clash today, and they were expecting him to have a better game. He had a rough start after joining the Argos from BC, but they haven't thrown anything over him today.
No, they haven't, and they thought he would just get better. He hadn't had any game experience up until joining the Argonauts and playing for them, and they were also wondering whether that sore knee where he's wearing the brace would slow him down at all.
Second down play for the Stampeders. They've only converted this 3 times previously. And it'll stay at 3. All sorts of contact downfield. The defender went down. Woodruff wonders what happened and whether there are flags, but the Stampeders look at third down. Glenn Harper to punt with 7.5 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Stampeders still without a point.
Ralph the dog trying to get that four-wheel drive started. Maybe they should get it on the field.
Harper's had a good day punting, considering that most of those have been into the wind. This is helped by the wind, as it wasn't a good contact with his foot, and downfield quickly are the Stampeders special teams men to hit Darnell Clash. A 47-yard punt with a win by Harper.
Darnell Clash on the...
The score says it all. The Argos have been in command right from the outset. And Gilbert Renfro has had a good day, and those numbers tell you why. Renfro completes another one. Pearson is all by himself and makes a great gain out of it. Just a play designed to get 10 yards, and it gained a whole lot more than that.
When things go wrong, they go wrong, and the Calgary Stampeders again blew another coverage, and Pearson was able to get untouched off the line of scrimmage and out into the flat. Then he does a nice job of getting up the field, down the sidelines, and delivering a blow at the same time to Greg Peterson.
All the way to the 47-yard line, Argo territory. Pearson's had a good day. Nobody on the Argo offense has it. Renfro to Johns. He fell down, and by the time he got up, he was pinned down by Quincy Williams.
8-1.
It's a tough start. Young quarterback gets an opportunity to get into his first league game. Probably figures he has everything under control, and then the game started.
Rick Warman is expecting to return to the Calgary lineup for next Sunday's game in Ottawa, and Coach Bob Vespasiani has said he'll be welcomed back. This game will only serve to underline that. An incompletion. Renfro was under some pressure. The coverage on Pearson was good from Richie Hall. So third down, and Hank Alisic will come on to punt.
Once again, we see the Stampeders gambling a little bit on defense and having it pay off, and I'm surprised that they didn't do a little bit of this earlier. Greg Peterson comes up from his safety position along with all 3 linebackers, puts their defensive backs in a man-to-man situation and coverage. Everyone did a good job, and it paid off. Now what can we expect?
He'll undoubtedly punt and not throw this time. Alisic reaching down for the bad snap and an average kick away. Penalty down as the Stampeders throw an illegal block or two in support of Richie Hall. So it's a 43-yard punt into the wind by Hank Alisic.
Richie Hall on the return. Line down.
I think they caught Stu Laird pushing or hitting from behind, and I think it was accidentally. He was trying to get out of somebody's way. But it never fails. When it's going to go wrong, it's going to happen then. When you're trying to make things happen right.
From Bob Vespasiani, we look to Rick Johnson, and those two have shared the headlines in Calgary the past few weeks. Johnson nails one to the sidelines. Willis drops the football. It is a fumble. And Willis recovered his own fumble.
Well, Darnell Clash gives a little bit of room for Willis to come off and do a hitch pass. Johnson quick set's going to throw the ball immediately, a timing pattern. And then just a good job of closing on the football, and Clash gets that helmet right where the ball is, and Willis is able to escape some of the grasp and recover his fumble.
Second down, the Stampeders need 7 yards after a short gain to Willis. Johnson under pressure fires. Good pass and catch is made. Marshall Toner in the game.
Rick Johnson reacted quite favorably to that play. He rolls out to the left, fakes the handoff, and Doran Major, the right halfback, is coming in and is right in his face. He's able to make the quick read and dump the ball off.
Johnson's experience obviously coming in handy to read that situation and to throw a perfect pass to Toner. First down from the 30. Right up the middle. Running back Tim Petros takes the ball to the 35-yard line. On the next play, we will isolate for the purposes of obtaining a highlight. Center Bob Poley. Yes, centers do have highlights, and we'll try to find one. Veteran center of the Stampeders broke his wrist in the game, in the season's first game. Pass is almost picked off. Intended again for Toner.
An offensive lineman's hands are so important. Once Bob Poley snaps the ball, he's got to get himself in a position where he can move around and get his hands out in front of him. He's going to pass people off, and that's so tough there. He's got Marlon Jones coming inside, pushing him out of the way. His mobility isn't there. Ilarenko, it just doesn't seem like there's a coordination along the offensive line, because it's almost like passing the buck. When their defensive line is rushing, they have to be able to move around.
Despite the protection of Poley, the pass was not completed. Line drive punt by Harper. Sun shining brightly now as Darnell Clash returns for the Argos to the 35. A 41-yard punt with the wind. Those are the tools of Bob Poley. You got to protect those hands, especially of a center, because they do get chewed up.
And one is already broken. So he especially has to take care of that one on the right. He's a tough son of a gun, boy. Having him in that offensive line is only going to help, and they're going to get better because he's the veteran. He's the one that will take charge and stand up in meetings and try to straighten guys out. That leadership is what they need right now.
3 minutes left, third quarter. Still Gilbert Renfro at the controls for the Argos. Gil Fennerty dodges outside. Look at those moves. Fennerty had nothing when he got the football, and he wound up with very close to a first down on the play, and strictly because he saw where there was room and where there wasn't and was able to move to it.
Well, when scouts look for football players in all positions, they look for quick feet, and quick feet is what gives Fennerty inside and outside. That shoulder dips down, and then he pops it out and just keeps looking for an area to run upfield.
Even the last move on Peterson got him the extra 2 yards. Didn't get him away from the tackle, but did allow him to move upfield closer to the first down.
He's got that great shoulder movement, too. When he dips down and goes upfield and then pops back out, it's his whole body is moving. He's not just sort of dragging a leg.
Third and short, Toronto.
Big Hank Alisic, maybe one of the best, if not the best punters in the CFL, has a special shoe. He designed it. It's made of kangaroo leather. It's got a Velcro strap to cover over the top, to cover the laces. The shoe's cut down a little bit on the back so he can point his foot easier, and he just loves it. So the problem is it's being held together by glue right now. They have to get another one.
Short yardage, and Renfro will push ahead. He's certainly big enough to do that without any blockers. He didn't have much help that time, but it is a first down.
That sun could pose a problem if he has to look into it, receiving a snap from center. That's why the little eye black underneath to stop the reflection.
He doesn't want to blame the sun, though, for his incomplete pass, does he? I mean, I don't think there is an excuse for that.
No, he probably thinks, well, if I could have thrown it overhand, I would have completed it.
Football and occasionally today softball from Hank Alisic. It's going to hurt Gilbert Renfro's or the Argos' overall passing stats when that incompletion shows up at the end of the game. But nothing else do the Argos have to complain about, not yet anyway. Renfro, and that was knocked away by Hopkins. He felt he could have intercepted it, knocking it down, kept it away from Ken Joyner.
Take a look at Harper, who has modified that face mask a little bit. Usually there's another bar that comes across. As you can see, it's been cut out. He has that done so he can see the ball from the center a little bit better when it's coming back. Personally, I think he's sticking his nose in his hands, or may have his nose in his hands if he ever gets hit.
Second down from the 46-yard line, Argo territory. Second last minute of play, third quarter, with Toronto leading 24-0. Renfro fires over Pearson's head. He was hit just as that ball was going over his head. And so it's another incompletion. Darrell Toussaint getting in on that play for the Calgary defense.
Well, Toussaint closes and makes a good play defensively on the outside. But Stu Laird comes clean, or comes free for the first time today, and gets some pressure and threw Renfro off a little bit.
And Hank Alisic still hasn't had a chance to kick with the wind.
Oh, the way he kicks the ball, it doesn't matter when there's a wind.
That's proof of what you just said. Fine punt by Alisic into that wind. Here's Gary Allen's return. Such as it is, the Stampeders go to work, still trying to score a point. 52-yard punt by Alisic.
Gary Allen.
Stampeders fairly deep, but they're happy to have the ball. The Argos have done a pretty good job of controlling it, and again, only 1 minute 7 seconds left with the wind for Calgary. Johnson to the sidelines. Willis catches this one, and it will be a first down just ahead of the 30-yard line. Larry Willis, who caught the pass that gave the Stampeders their only touchdown, or their only victory of this season.
Harper's had a good day punting with and against the wind, but as you can see, Alisic has only had a chance to punt against the wind, and that average is just incredible. That big size, 12.5, when it hits the ball.
Johnson says go, the Stampeders do, and they make another completion. Gary Allen uses the speed to get outside. A little block helps him get more, and it's another first down for the Stampeders.
Well, that little block just put Darnell Clash right on the turf. That was just a great play of coming down after Gary Allen catches the ball. He beats Moen right here, gets outside, and then pow, Clash just gets bopped right there.
Knocked on his face, but by the way, you were okay. Gary Allen swings away. No, he doesn't. The sweater can sometimes help you make the tackle, and it exposes the shoulder pad.
Allen caught from behind by Don Holt after a gain of close to 6 yards.
Allen will come to the bench to get dressed again. The Stampeders huddling up quickly. Trying to get as much out of this third quarter as they can. That is incomplete. And that's the end of the third quarter. John Conjemi perhaps going to see action in the fourth quarter. The score after 3 is Toronto 24, Calgary nothing.
Argonauts 24, Stamps.
Some turnovers, the score can change quickly.
Johnson fires that with all his might, and the catch is made by Tolbert. The gain is fairly short, but it gets the Stampeders to the 46-yard line, and it'll be a gain of 5 or 6 yards.
Well, Johnson seems a lot more confident throwing the football. He's not missing his receivers. He knows where they're going to be. And that strong arm of his is coming into play now, because that last pass is only a 10-yard out, but he has to throw it 3/4 of the way across the field.
2nd and 4, and I guess the Stampeders will be gambling on every 3rd down situation the rest of the way. They'll hope to make 4 yards or more this time. Allen to the left. He has good moves and breaks to the clear, but falls down as he crosses the 30-yard line. They're going to put him back at the 31. Easily a 1st down, though. Still, Kangemi warms up.
Well, the Stampeders, whether it was luck or good fortune or whatever, they ran a play to the outside to Gary Allen, your basic sweep, but caught the Argonauts in a blitz situation right up the middle, so they didn't have an outside linebacker. They're able to get around the corner, and Allen almost breaks it.
1st down as the sun again brightens up McMahon Stadium. That will be a catch. Larry Willis didn't necessarily come down, but would have if he hadn't been hit by Reggie Pleasant. Fine catch by 89, Larry Slick Willis.
Yes, this is very much of a timing pattern. Willis is going to go down and turn to the outside, and Johnson never took his eyes off him. Throws the ball in the perfect position. Pleasant pushes him out of bounds.
He did get the toe down before he went out. And so it's a 1st down, Stampeders from the Argonaut 18-yard line. Johnson on a bit of a roll, pumps once, throws deep. Willis has the ball bounce off the helmet of Pleasant, but because Reggie Pleasant was not playing the ball and instead was screening the receiver, pass interference has been called.
Maybe the toughest thing to do is be put outside on a wide receiver and not know where the football is, and you can see the ball's coming. He just doesn't know when to react and when to turn around. The fear is if you turn around too soon, the ball's overthrown, the receiver goes by you. So that's a tough call for a defensive back to make, when to spin that body around.
Well, the only thing he might read off that play is that Willis had no further room to move in the end zone. He would have been out of bounds, and so at that point it doesn't hurt you to turn. Pleasant didn't. He is called for a pass interference. 1st and goal. Johnson is in for a Calgary touchdown, and the Stampeders are on the scoreboard. It is premature to say they're back in the game, but it does give some reason for optimism.
Well, everyone has known Rick Johnson has tremendous ability. Being the all-star quarterback in the CFL last year, there's never a question that he can perform. It's whether he's been ready to this year, and I think at this last drive is proof that he's right back. The shoulder's not a problem. His confidence level's increasing. Whether they win the football game or not, if he continues to perform like that, it's just nothing but good things ahead for the Stampeders.
Neil, the Argos, better than any team perhaps in this league, should realize that it is possible for Calgary to come back and win this game. The Argos had one in their grasp and wound up in a tie in Regina. The Argos came back and stole a game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So they have been on both ends of a big comeback. Stampeders try for a 2-point convert. They don't make it, but there is a flag down. It is against Calgary. It is declined. So the score remains 24-6. The Argos lead has been reduced to 18.
This Canada.
Don't go away. There's more exciting CFL.
And the Argos win the game. What a finish.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry, but you're making it awful tough.
Well, the Calgary fans want more of what they have just seen. A Calgary touchdown by Rick Johnson. The kickoff hangs in the air for Jake Vaughn. Flag comes down. Vaughn goes down right at the 45-yard line.
38-yard kickoff by JT. Vaughn on the return, 8 yards, but there is a flag down.
That's an illegal block against the Argonauts. With the score, Toronto 24, Calgary 6. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations from coast to coast to identify themselves. You're watching the Canadian Football Network.
Return.
John Conjemi has entered the game for the Argos. They scrimmage from the 33-yard line. Fennerty showing us again great moves. Goes to the 40-yard line. I would guess that this is a coaching decision on the part of Bob Obilovich to get Conjemi into the game. Renfro is not hurt. Renfro has played well. You wonder about this?
Oh, he's played extremely well, but he said today that he would like to get Conjemi into the game. He feels that he's healthy. It's time for him to get back in, and it makes no bones about him that this man right here is going to be the quarterback for the future of the Toronto Argonauts.
Second down, about 3 for Conjemi and the Argos. Throws a good pass and makes a good catch. Does Mike Soroshka for the first down.
Complete to Soroshka.
His abilities go much further than just being able to catch the football and go take a handoff to go downfield. He's got to be able to take on linebackers and defensive ends, and he does a great job there of not only getting Bruce Green's hands down, but knocking Green down.
Well, Calgary has pulled ahead in the Fennerty versus the team competition, but not on the scoreboard. John Conjemi first down from the Argo 52. He is down in the grasp of linebacker Bruce Green. The blitz worked for the Stampeders. Conjemi feels as though he's in the game now.
Well, Bruce Green came to the Stampeders from Edmonton, played a few games with the Eskimos this year. They found that he wasn't the man they were looking for, but this time he certainly was the right man at the right place at the right time for the Stampeders.
Back to the 41 Argo territory. We have 10:45 to go in the fourth quarter. The Argos leading by 18 points. Conjemi second and 20 or more. He is down again. Ball comes loose. Whistle head blown. It is not a fumble. It is a sack. And the Argos will still have possession of the ball and will kick it. Stampeders, some of them still think, Quincy Williams for one, think that they've got the football now. But it is a sack. Fennerty ruled down before the ball came loose.
Well, that's something we talked about, how quickly things can change. He's on the ground, but that's a close call. And another safety blitz. Greg Peterson comes up the middle, is the man who gets a shot at the quarterback.
Third and 34 Argonauts.
Well, now Hank Olisic rubs his hands together and gets the right foot ready to punt with the help of the wind. It'll go a long way, but he didn't get it up high enough to take full advantage. Back comes Gary Allen, and he's over the 40 to the 41-yard line. Johnson had a 93-yard drive the last time. He comes on and tries to do it again momentarily. Argos leading 24-6. Gil Fennerty has been a large part of the Toronto offense. Now Rick Johnson tries to move the Stampeders with a football. Johnson steps up through the middle of the coverage and goes to the 50-yard line, close to a first down. Stampeders have to be thinking now, every time we have the football, we have to score, and every time they have the football, we have to stop them. And then it is possible to come from behind this sort of a lead.
Oh, it certainly is, and they're going to give, the Argonaut defense is going to give some things up. They know that the Stamps are going to throw, and so they're going to pin their ears back the front four and keep coming, and that may give them gaps to run the football, draws and screens.
First down and more from Gary Allen, who is much more a part of this Stampeder attack in the second half. That clock does move, though, and it's a big ally of the Argos in the fourth quarter. 9 minutes left. Toronto leading by 18 points.
One of the problems of jumping out into a big lead in the first half, and that's something that Bob Obilovich is quite aware of, and his troops, that you can't get into a comfort zone. You can't think the game's over. You've got another half to play, and you have to play as hard and try to get as many points.
Johnson saw nowhere to throw it and nowhere to run. He just decided to minimize the loss, and he did get back near the line of scrimmage. They're going without huddle now to try to squeeze as much time as possible out of the fourth quarter clock. Tony Woodruff just does get back to the line of scrimmage, just to turn around and go upfield again. He was the deep receiver in the last pattern. Johnson standing up back there at midfield. He throws the ball, and it is caught for a first down by Toner.
Well, a situation here where Johnson does a great job of buying some time and let his receivers come open.
20 yards.
Toner sees that there's a problem upfield. The quarterback's moving around. Now he's coming back. I've got to give the quarterback a target. Separates himself from his defensive back, comes down and makes a catch. They need that type of effort from the receivers.
Gerald Bayless is down, and while he is, perhaps we could have a few words about a situation in Edmonton that obviously has affected anyone that has heard about it or certainly has seen it, and those involved in Edmonton that have been affected directly obviously have many stories to tell. There is a football-related story.
There certainly is. James Zachary was living in one of the areas the tornado went through, and on Friday afternoon, his area was hit. He was hit, had to go to the hospital. I believe he received some stitches and was banged up a little bit. His family's safe. But the players on the team didn't know where he was. Tried to get a hold of him, couldn't find James Zachary, and there was a great deal of concern. And phoned the hospitals. No one had the name. So I guess Danny Bass went looking around, and they finally found him the day of the game, and it's a darn good thing.
Here in the other major Alberta city, a lot of talk about what has happened in Edmonton, and we share the concern and hope that everybody watching today in Edmonton is okay as okay can be after something like that. Following this game, we'll be selecting the Canada Lease MVP. Canada Lease, a public company providing leadership in the world of high technology and capital equipment leasing. Canada Lease makes your money work for you. Johnson fires out of the reach of Marshall Toner.
Well, the Argonauts are giving a different look on defense. They've usually just been bringing that front four of theirs and being quite successful, but this time Doran Major from the wide side of the field in the halfback spot blitzes, picked up well by the running backs. Johnson read it, but the ball just wasn't on target.
1-0-0-7-0.
Second down, 7:20, and the clock moves. Johnson under a rush, swings away from it, fires a pass. Tolbert pulls it out of the air, and is he hit short of the first down? Apparently so, and a real good play. But the Stampeders are in a position where they're going to be gambling if they don't have the first down. No, I guess he made it.
I think he just got to the first down marker, made the catch, and then was knocked back. But Johnson's ability to get outside, he's not known for his speed, but the good feet of his gets him away from a tackler and then just lofts it up over to Tolbert.
Flash made the good tackle. Tolbert was barely in first down range. Johnson throws to the end zone to nobody. And we have a penalty on this play for holding against Calgary.
That seemed like Rick Johnson was looking for Tony Woodruff to break it over across the middle. It never happened.
Ken Lazaruk dutifully pushes the buttons on that microphone, though we haven't heard much of him today.
Rick Johnson calling all his own plays, does not want anything to come in from the bench. He has a feel for the football game now, and it's probably best that he does make the call.
6.5 minutes, second down, or first down rather, and 20 yards to go from the 25. Johnson with time for Woodruff. It is underthrown and intercepted. Reggie Pleasant, second of the day. He looking for some room and some blocks down the sidelines. Runs out of room after getting a couple of blocks, and he goes to the 41-yard line. So the Stampeders now look at a 6th turnover. There's a flag down on the play. Argos lead by 18. The interception by Reggie Pleasant stands. The flag came after his catch and during his run. And Johnson had Tony Woodruff wide open, but that's because Pleasant saw that he could catch the ball and left the receiver to come back to the football. Fennerty takes a pop right at the line of scrimmage. There on the tackle, Eugene Belleville.
Well, Eugene Belleville getting a chance to get in the football game. He had normally been where Stu Laird is now playing, but after acquiring Quincy Williams and moving him up to the defensive line from his linebacker position, Eugene Belleville then became the backup.
John Conjemi in relief of Gilbert Renfro at quarterback for the Argos. Jemmy has some distance on this throw, too much, as it turns out. Ken Joyner, the intended receiver. Bob Obilovich with not too much concern. As 5 minutes, 17 seconds are left in this game. Fourth quarter to be official. And the Argos lead by 18 points and will punt.
Well, Joyner seems to be experiencing a bit of a problem. Sometimes when he gets a chance to open up the throttle and sprint out like that, he sees the ball thrown. Now he has to accelerate, and that's exactly what he does. But that's when oftentimes you can get a pull.
Had the ball been there, there would have been quite a battle. There was good coverage by Ron Hopkins, who is one of the few bright spots for Calgary early in the season, with his kick returning and his play in the secondary. Gary Allen as a punt returner. The grunts and the groans as Allen tries to get to midfield. A 51-yard Illicik punt and a 14-yard return by Gary Allen.
Well, after the ball's kicked, different people react differently. Some punters go down the field and try to make the tackle. Other punters see things are well in hand after the ball's kicked and figures he doesn't have to help out. The ball's gone, everything's in hand, the coverage. Good job, fellas. I think I'll just take a walk.
It's a new dance step, I believe. So the Argonauts appear on their way back to second place in the East. They will have 7 points with this victory, one ahead of Hamilton, only one behind Winnipeg, although the Argos have played one more game than the Blue Bombers. But in every Argos season, I think where they are in the standings in relation to Hamilton is of primary importance, and this does restore second place to the Double Blue if they can hold on and win this game, and there appears little likelihood that they won't. Johnson in and out of the arms of receiver Tim Petros, who's dropped a couple today.
Well, that's frustrating for a quarterback. He's thrown the ball well in the second half and really had done a good job moving the offensive team, but you can only take so many passes being dropped until it starts to bother you.
Well, Johnson's back on the roster and will stay there for the next week. I think when Warman comes back, the combination will be Warman and Johnson, as the Stampeders go to Ottawa for a Canadian Football Network game a week from today. Johnson from midfield. No, he can't get around that man, and fires as a tackle rips the helmet right off Tim Petros. The one he catches, he has to pay for like that.
And a new chin strap. You have to go down and go up the field for a new chin strap. Petros doesn't have any responsibility because his linebacker drops, and Johnson buys again some time and then takes a shot from Selwyn Drain. Nothing to lose your head over, mind you, just a pretty good tackle.
Petros down on the play.
My head's okay, but this isn't.
Well, the equipment's only so good, and he has to come off. Go down and have the trainer come in and take a quick look at that chin strap, saying, yes, sir, that chin strap is hurt. We'll have to get you a new one.
It was not a first down for the pop he took, so the Stampeders gamble on 3rd down and 5. Johnson slingshots one incomplete. Intended for Andy McVeigh. Johnson shows a little display of emotion as he leaves the field. He tossed his arm in the air in disgust. As the helmet work continues, the Argos send their offense onto the field. 3:44 to go. Stampeders will remain last in the CFL West and last in the league period, with only one victory, and a fortunate one at that, in 7 tries, but only a point back of 3rd place Saskatchewan in the West. That's the saving grace if there is one in Calgary. Conjemi to Fennerty, adding to the good stats of Gil Lathrell in this game.
Well, this gives Conjemi a chance to get back into game shape. Hasn't played for a few weeks, and he is wearing a collar from that neck injury, but he has it tucked underneath by the shoulder pad, so it's not very noticeable, but they're going to protect that neck of his. That can be a concern.
As for Fennerty, he does begin to remind you of all the great Argo running backs of the past. Dick Shadow, Bill Simons, a couple that come to mind. He's got power, he's got speed, he's got moves. This is Darrell Smith, who was making catches in the first half. I think this is his first catch of the second half. Moves the sticks, gives the Argos another first down, and adds some numbers to John Kangemi's name today. 3:05 left, and the Argos have the victory well in hand. Less than 3 minutes now as the clock moves toward the end. The Argos try to continue moving with a first down from Calgary's 47-yard line. Kangemi to Fennerty. And again, there's not much there, but he can make the most of it. He almost glides while looking for the right place to go.
4 yards.
This is Glenn Harper's nickname, taped
Ice cubes
to his helmet. Should we ask?
Well, I guess that's if anyone tears the numbers up, but there aren't even numbers on there.
Ice Cubes Harper.
Well, another good reason that Fennerty can become so successful as a running back is he sets up his offensive lineman well. Dan Ferroni comes out and puts a grid block on Bernie Morrison, puts him to the turf. Then it's Williams gives him an adjustment there.
The 43-yard line. It is second down. Kangemi, he was really trying to put it there on a string, and it didn't make it. So it'll be third down.
Third down.
Well, Kangemi seems to be fully recovered, and that's good news for the Toronto Argonauts. And I think Renfro doing as well as he has, it's nice to see that the Argos are going to have two quarterbacks that can go in and play.
Get well, Gil. You're the MVP, and we want to have words with you. Hank Olisic to punt for the Argos. Almost a high snap. He resists the urge to throw another pass, and he kicks a single. 25-6 now in favor of the Argos as Olisic puts a point on the scoreboard.
Hank Olisic may be one of the fittest kickers in the CFL or anywhere. He's an avid weightlifter, very strong, and takes his kicking very seriously. And he doesn't place kick anymore because it puts too much pressure on that right knee. And after he did some place kicking earlier on in the season, it affected his punting because of the sore knee. So Chalmers does it all now. Hank just gets to put the boots to her when a punt formation comes.
Saw Dwight Edwards there. He was replaced in the starting lineup by Mike Soroshka because of full back spasms, but there are muscle spasms in the back. Incomplete pass to Tolbert, but Edwards did put the uniform on today, just in case. Well, we'll play this nickname game on the helmet. This is Mr. Cool. This is JT
defensive back. Well, I was close. I was close. Okay, he's got the speed of a defensive back, Vince Goldsmith, and the move sometimes.
If they know we're doing this, they're going to start switching helmets on us. You know that.
So those players are sharper than we think.
Rick Johnson is going down right on his nickname as Bayless makes his presence felt again and enjoys it.
Well, he's quite a load at 6 feet and 260 pounds, and his quickness. He can get on a center's head throughout the game and really give them problems. Again, faking the blitz. They just continue to come with the four people. And Gerald Bayless once again takes Rick Johnson to the turf.
Stampeders line up on third down. They've had enough gambling. The game obviously is out of their reach. And so Harper will punt. No yards, flags all over the place. Darnell Clash knew that. Didn't have to catch it, just had to touch it, and it would be fine, but he did catch the ball.
No yards, 37 Calgary. First down, Toronto.
In no time, we have that mic working. Didn't even see him fix it.
He's going to stay and read Shakespeare later now that everybody can hear him. Bob Vespasiani, the sun is long gone, but I don't blame him for keeping the dark glasses on. The Stampeders will be 1-6. They get ready for Ottawa next week. A full week to prepare. The Riders aren't the toughest team in the league, but the Stampeders obviously aren't about to take anybody lightly. Conjemi fires incomplete. 150 remaining. John Conjemi, second only to Dan Marino, passing stats at the University of Pittsburgh. And I guess the second best recruit that the Argos made in the offseason. We'd have to say Fennerty is number one.
I would have to say so. And Conjemi and Fennerty have made quite a hit in Toronto. They've been pursued, and I think they're planning to do some commercials, and they might even get some bit parts in movies coming up. So a couple of good-looking guys.
Well, with Conjemi's Italian background and Fennerty's play in Italy, they could be in a spaghetti western, perhaps. To the 20-yard line is George Gannis from York University. He gets a chance to play, gets a chance to run with the ball.
First CFL game. They like what they've seen from Gannis too, and earlier on this season, big fullback type, 6 feet, 220 pounds, as you said, from York University. Nice to see him get a chance to get in the football game.
First down, Argonauts, and sure, he gets the ball again. Why not?
George Gannis carries.
Well, George gets the ball once, and he gets it another time in his first CFL game. He's got a string going. Just keep handing the ball off to the fullback. The young guy's got some legs. The only real running he's probably done to this point is on special teams, and he'll go into the huddle and call the play. His hand clap will be the loudest too, I can count on.
The Argos have it won. The question is, what will the final score read? 25-6. John Conjemi tries to produce more points for Toronto. Right here he tries. And why not Daryl Smith? Another great catch. He has 2 touchdowns. Every catch has been a difficult one for Smith in this game. He's put on quite a show.
Well, he made a spectacular one-handed catch to set up some points in the first quarter. And his jumping ability is tremendous. He's that aggressive receiver that Obilovich has been looking for, someone who will go up and take the ball away from a defensive halfback. Those guys are tough to cover.
Well, Richie Hall's size hurts him in those situations, and really Smith has gained the upper hand in literal and figurative terms every time he and Hall have gone for a ball. Comics convert is good. It's now 32-6 for the Argos, so they won by 10 at home, and this has been a romp here in Calgary. And the Stampeders, if anything had been good about their season, hadn't really played too badly at home. There was the game against Winnipeg that they could have and perhaps should have won. But this home performance has done nothing to boost their stock.
Well, along with that, as you said, they had played pretty well at home, even though they hadn't won a game. But even it's tough to get things going for a team when the problem with Johnson and Vespasiani hits the newspapers and the airwaves. You'd like to give everyone the feeling that things are okay. We're losing, but things are still okay in the Stampeder family. But then that carries on, and that type of stuff is tough to shake, and it can really affect a football team. And Vespasiani said earlier that he would hope that they could keep that within the family, but it wasn't the case this time.
I wonder whether Johnson shouldn't have started this game. I think there was every indication he was going to play. I don't think there was a great deal of confidence in what Fodor was going to do. And there might have been a bit of a build-up to the game had it been labeled the return of Rick Johnson. Maybe some Calgary enthusiasm right off the bat, because by the time the Stampeders had a chance to get into this game, they were down 13-0. They didn't have the win in the first quarter.
Ron Hopkins gets 23 yards on
Johnson
Calgary 25-yard
might have done better, might have felt better as a starter.
I think so, but at the same time, he had the luxury of sitting on the sidelines and seeing what the Argonauts were going to throw at their offense. It's a lot of fun and winning.
Last minute of play. It's Been a long day for the Stampeders. Not a long game in terms of the clock in any other way, but Calgary has really suffered today. Emmanuel Tolbert on an end around. Makes 4 yards.
Well, the defense of the Argonauts hasn't stopped hitting because Mullins over there and the rest of the troops led by Willie Pless, they're still putting some shots on people. Willie Pless is an interesting story. Obilovich said he's the only linebacker he's ever seen when the ball's thrown over his head, he just turns and sprints to the football.
He didn't have to look far for it there. The man in front of him caught it. And Pless put a tackle on E.T. Emmanuel Tolbert. Flag came down at the same time. It's a first down unless the penalty goes against Calgary. And, you know, Vespasiani is saying, of course it will.
Ineligible receiver, number 19, Calgary. Second down repeated.
Tolbert lined up in the wrong place. Normally, of course, he would be an eligible receiver. But that look on the coach's face says it all about Calgary. He really didn't look like a guy who felt he was going to come out and win this game. When we talked to him earlier, I suppose 5 straight losses are going to do that to anybody, but his expression now isn't a whole lot different than it was at the start of the game.
No, it isn't, and he's been like that for a couple of weeks now. And as you said, the pressure on the head coach is tough. He's the one that has to bear the brunt of this whole thing.
Johnson adds a completion there. He hit Tony Woodruff coming across the middle. Now we've got some fisticuffs behind the play. Don't amount to very much. We don't even see a flag down. Bayless was involved for the Argonauts.
Well, Bayless has frustrated an awful lot of people today, and Bob Obilovich has said 3 games ago he was going to get some people in place and stick with them, and he was referring to the defensive backfield primarily. And I think he's been able to accomplish that. He wants to cut down the change in his football team.
Catch made by Willis. He get away from 4 defenders. Then comes back and finally goes down. Obilovich had many good things to say about this roster that he's got now in terms of its possibility for development as a flag comes out of a pile and a little more scratching and clawing goes on. But he really does think if he could add maybe a player or 2 to his defense and get better performance out of that defense, that he's got a team that may not be the CFL's best now, but could develop into a real Grey Cup contender. And of course, there's lots of time to do that this season.
Oh, there certainly is. And I think what hurt them years ago after they won their Grey Cup is they lost a lot of players, few to the NFL. A few players decided that they would retire, and that's very tough to bounce back from something like that. People you figure you're going to be with you for the next 2 or 3 years and really build a foundation for a football team, all of a sudden disappear. Now you've got to go searching for talented people. It's not that easy.
Johnson slings one out of bounds. All the elements are there for the Argos. They've got what appears to be promising quarterbacking. Fennerty, of course, is the star. The receivers are good. On the offensive line, there's a veteran like Dan Ferroni, a younger player of prominence like Chris Schultz. On defense, there's Pless, there's Bayless. The secondary was a concern earlier, but it seems to have come around now. And obviously, the Argos have good kicking, so they've got good players in every phase of the game and just have to fill in a few holes. Johnson fires. That was up for grabs and is caught. Good battle for the ball is won by Tony Woodruff, but it comes with only 8 seconds left.
Well, if Rick Warman recovers from those bruised ribs that he got this week and is able to play in the next game for the Stampeders, I'm sure he will start because he was to start today. But Rick Johnson, I think, is showing that he is on his way back. A little more confidence, and if he can keep that offensive team together, they may start to produce, get some points on the board.
The Argos knew they'd be in a tougher Eastern Division the minute Winnipeg was moved there. But now the Hamilton Tiger Cats have obviously shown that they can compete with anybody in the league, having beaten Edmonton and British Columbia. So the East is at least 3 good teams deep. The Ottawa Rough Riders have some improving to do, but have some time to do it. In the West, it's strictly BC and Edmonton, and then the 2 others, Saskatchewan and Calgary.
Now we take a look at Marlon Jones, a tired young man today. He's had a lot of work. They've worked hard. You mentioned the Ticats. Ticats played so well against the Lions, and the Ticats have had their problems with injuries. Bruno's done a good job keeping that group together.
One more try and a touchdown for Calgary. This is the last play of the game, and Johnson's going to run it in. It is a Calgary touchdown. The fans who remain cheer. And Rick Johnson scores his second touchdown of the game. The stables haven't closed yet. The horse is still here.
He's just a little stiff, that's all. Well, I don't know if this is a design drop. Well, it certainly looks like it because he takes his normal drop. I don't think that was holding there, was it? Gets a chance to get in the end zone for the second time tonight.
32-12. J.T. Hay will try to make it 32-13, and whether he does or doesn't, this game is over. Make it 32-13, and that's the score of a Toronto Argonaut victory over the Calgary Stampeders. They played back-to-back games, and the Argonauts and coach Bob Obilovich have won them both.